Big Score podcast. Today, we're continuing our Fantasy Blitz series. We've already talked about quarterbacks. We've already talked about tight ends. Now we're getting to the positions that are actually going to make a meaningful part of your team. And we're going to talk about running backs today. The running back group is a little bit different. There's some great ones and there's some really bad ones. So there's a drop-off. We'll kind of get all into that here shortly. So, kicking this off, we're going to start out with our rankings, our 1 through 12 rankings, QB1, running back 1 specifically. Dan, why'd you pick Jameer as your 1?
He's going to be a higher scoring offense than Atlanta. I like Bijan's role in Atlanta. It's not like he's going to be getting vultured anymore.
Yeah.
If you want Bijan over Jameer, go for it. I feel like a lot of people agree, want to go that route. Obviously, you and Brad seem to agree with that. But Jameer, just higher scoring offense. David Montgomery's gone. I don't think Isaiah Pacheco is going to be a huge focal point in that offense. They're not scared to use their stars. I think they're just going to feed him constantly. He's going to have wide receiver 1 targets. After he got paid along with some of these other top running backs, I think he had nearly as many receptions as a guy like Zay Flowers had.
Well, of course.
And Zay Flowers is a wide receiver 1. Jameer Gibbs is a wide receiver 1 and a running back 1. Bijan had the same thing as well, but
he does. Jameer definitely has more options. But
yeah, neither one.
Both of them are in that wide receiver 1 and running back 1 for their own teams. They both have really stud wide receivers as well on their own teams, but they're going to be featured. And I just think that the Lions are not scared of feeding Jameer, where maybe the Falcons will say, let's give Bijan a break. I don't think Dan Campbell's going to say, let's give Jameer a break. I think they'll run him into the ground if they need to make sure it keeps ticking. And I just think Jameer is going to eat.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. I took Bijan first here mainly because of workload. Algier's not there anymore. I know they brought in Brian Robinson, but is he really going to be stealing that many carries from Bijan? I think with the new head coaching staff, I think Bijan's actually going to be featured in the offense for the first time in his career, because here recently with the past coaching staff, they like to take him off the field at important moments for some reason. But now that he's been paid, they're going to work him. And I can see him getting 320 plus carries this year. So he's just somebody who I think that's going to allow him to get above Jameer, because Jameer's not going to see 300 carries. So he's going to have to make it up with those PPR receptions. So that's kind of why I put him 1. I don't know, Brad, are you kind of in the same sphere there?
Pretty much. You're splitting hairs with those two. So, you can't really go
That's
wrong.
Fair.
Bijan has this as far as the carries go, I think Jameer's not going to have as many actual carries as Bijan, but Jameer's more of a big play back. He breaks a lot of big runs. Not that Bijan doesn't, but Jameer's got that. I think he's a little bit faster than Bijan. So he just seems to be in a bigger play, bigger chunk plays. But I also give credit to his offensive line on that. The Detroit offensive line is pretty good. So
fair point.
But as far as Dan said, they are in a better offense, but I think it's splitting hairs. I'm with you. I think Bijan's going to be the focal point of that offense. I think that Tua is going to probably win the starting job, and he's more likely to check down for receptions. Mm-hmm. So I think Bijan should have a big reception year also. But like I said, you're splitting hairs. You can't go wrong with one of those two guys. So
I do definitely see that. And to circle with that right there, is that where you're cutting out your elite tier? Is it Bijan and Gibbs? Are you throwing in JT or McCaffrey or any of these other guys? Are you tossing them into that elite tier?
I would. I would say that Bijan and Jameer Gibbs are in tier 1A, and I think that JT and McCaffrey are in tier 1B, strictly for the fact that JT's been given the load and consistently for much longer than they have been. So it's possible that it could be a wear and tear type thing. And that is a definite for sure with McCaffrey. You know, I mean, and McCaffrey's got like a almost consistent, anytime he gets over so many, like it was weird. It was like either every 3 years or something, McCaffrey goes down. And last year he played a full year and it was a full workload, and he's on the wrong side of his running back career. I think he's 30 this year. So plus you've already seen the injury list on them 49ers are getting reported at. So it's
that power station's getting to him hard.
They're gonna need him all those injuries.
They are, but if Christian stays healthy those full years, it is no surprise he could be RB1.
Yeah.
That's why my cutoff is after Jonathan Taylor. So the top four. Okay. I think Gibbs and Robinson obviously are slightly above the next two, but those next two and McCaffrey and Taylor belong. If you're talking about the top running backs in fantasy, they belong in the conversation. I don't think they're quite as high as Gibbs and Robinson because of usage. I mean, McCaffrey can get up there again, especially if everybody in his offense is hurt. I like to think about, like, no injuries. What is he going on? What's he going to do for his offense? I still think he's up there again, slightly below, but still in that very top tier. And same with Taylor, especially with Dan Jones coming back. We saw what that offense was doing last year before he went down. All four of those running backs could be running back one at the end of the year. Not a big surprise if it happens.
No, yeah. I'm kind of on board with y'all. I'm more on Brad's side, though. I like Bijan and Jameer by themselves in tier one, the elite tier. I think CMC could get there. I think JT can get there too. But if I got to draft a running back in the top 5 in my fantasy draft, I'm not drafting CMC or JT in the top 5. If Bijan and Gibbs are gone, I'm taking a wide receiver. So that's kind of how I was envisioning it. If you're in that top half of the draft, I'm not taking CMC or JT. So
if your picks 1 to 4, if your picks 1 to 4, it's Bijan and Jameer, and I see, in my personal opinion, JT and CMC is like pick 8 to 12 is where I think they should go, because I'm with you. The receivers are too stacked right there in the middle of that round. Where
I do agree with that. Yeah. Don't I wouldn't want to draft them in the top 5, but if you end up with one of them as your running back towards the end of the first round, I think they could give you that running back number 1 overall. And I was hesitant to draft Taylor earlier this offseason. But with Dan Jones coming back, he's healthy. I think that just helps the offense overall. So Taylor is creeping up my list again.
Yeah. I like Jonathan Taylor strictly for Big Q. Shout out Big Q.
Oh, yeah. That offensive line is a big deal in Indy. Hopefully they can stay healthy, though. That's the biggest thing there.
Yep.
Do you think that the 3 running backs that got paid here recently are going to affect them either way? Either they got their money and they're going to take a break, or they got their money and now they're going to prove themselves.
They didn't get enough money. They are going to go out there and say, pay us like wide receiver 1s, not wide receiver 35.
Yeah,
we were way more important than you realize. So no, they are not going to take a step back just because they got paid. They want more money.
I think they were all like, I don't want to say short extensions, but like only 3-year extensions, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's like it shows they're like the teams are like, we know they're going to take a pounding, so they don't want to have a deep, long investment in them either, which is kind of sad when you think about the big picture. But hey, man, it is what it is. So
it's part of the position.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're 28, running back, then you're downhill.
Well, once you hit 25, 26 as a running back in the NFL, you typically fall off. Yeah.
Once you hit it, your third year in the league, you're already on your way out.
For every Derrick Henry, there's probably 100 others that fail after 25.
Like you said, if you're 25, 26 and you were drafted and given the load your first year on, once you're 25 or 26, you're at the peak already. So,
So it's good that those guys got paid. What was interesting, real quick, with them getting paid is that nobody got more guaranteed money than Jeremiah Love, though.
That is
Jeremiah Love still has the most guaranteed money as a running back here recently, which is kind of crazy. Never taking an NFL snap. All right, so we know our elite tier. We know I guess you can consider them maybe a tier 1A, 1B, depending on the analysts here. Now we're going to get into the middle. James Cook, Genty, that 5 through 8 spot. Any of those guys can take a shot and try to get into that top 3, top 4 this year based on how their year plays out. What do you think, Dan?
I think Genty, based on usage, if that offensive line's better, obviously his quarterback situation isn't great. There's not a lot of wide receivers in Vegas that are going to pull attention away. But the offensive line's better. The quarterback situation's a bit better than what Geno was last year, even with an old Kirk Cousins and a rookie in Mendoza. Genty, based on usage, he's going to catch a lot of balls. If he can hit some running lanes, get some touchdowns, I think he can take a step up and get into that upper echelon. James Cook, he's going to be used. I feel like he's more touchdown dependent. Achane, I don't know what the hell's going on in Miami. He might get a lot of usage. They might be so bad that they can't even get the ball to him.
You're slightly higher on him than me and Brad.
I am scared of Achane. And in the past, it was more injury, but I'm trying not to put injuries into my rankings. Like, if all these guys are healthy, how are they shaking out? Because you can't really plan around. If I'm planning around like, McCaffrey's going to get hurt week 1, I wouldn't pick him early in the first round if that's how I view him.
Yeah.
So Achane, it's just his offense is so bad. If he's the only one getting the ball, Malik Willis, is he going to check it down, or is he going to use his legs? So maybe his receiving numbers go down. He has a new offensive coordinator that may not want to pass the ball to running backs, and that's how Achane got a lot of his yardage. Pass it to him on the outside, not in the backfield. Like a screen pass, things like that. I'm still high on him because he's going to get used a lot. I don't see him being running back number 1. Omari and Hampton, though, behind him, I feel like could also jump up with Genty. Just those younger running backs, new offensive systems. We'll see how their usage goes. Guy like Chase Brown, I feel like is going to be more consistent. So that's kind of where I am.
Get Chase Brown out of here. I don't know why he's even in your top 12.
Y'all even have him in your top. Y'all are ridiculous.
No, neither of us have him in his top 12.
Both of you are ridiculous.
I don't know if that was
just
when I was doing
realizing
my rankings.
This.
Yeah, I don't know if I was doing my rankings and it was just out
y'all
of spite
stupid
to you. No, I'm kidding. I just don't think he can crack the top. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. But Omari and Hampton, I know Brad has been on that horse all off season.
Yep. Yeah, I think
can he get to that top 3? Can he jump JT and McCaffrey? Everyone being healthy throughout the entire year?
I think he can. If that, like, we're talking about all health, for the same reasons you said about Jahmyr Gibbs, I think you can refer to Omari and Hampton. They've been stacking the offensive line as of recent. They got the QB that can, he can distribute the ball and move it downfield. They got weapons on the outside, so you can't stack the box. And their offensive coordinator that they just hired had Achane finishing as a top 5 back for the last 3 years, whatever it's been. He's been putting up yards and whatnot. And I think Omari and Hampton's skill set and physical build is better for him to take that beating or that physical load of that position than Achane was. So I think he can do it all. And I think if he stays healthy and that offense is what it should be, then I think he could easily finish top 3. It wouldn't surprise me if he finishes RB1. So,
like one overall is what you're saying.
Yeah,
really.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I
write it down. Write
it down. Now we're gonna come back in like 6 weeks after he, sadly injures his ankle or something, and
that's very possible.
No, I know. The one guy I think in my, that 5 through 8 period right there that I think can jump into the top 3, Kenneth Walker. He played very well.
That's so ridiculous. I was wanting to jump on that so bad. I'll let you talk.
He can totally get into that top 3 with that offense. Mahomes is not himself anymore. They're going to have to rely on the running back position, and Pacheco is gone. So
who?
Exactly.
I
just think Kenneth Walker can slide up there and be that guy.
You think Andy Reid's finally like, oh yes, I got a running back again? You know?
Yes, actually. I think he's like I got LaShawn McCoy or
Yeah.
someone like that. Whether you
Kareem
want to go
Hunt,
with him or
2017,
Kareem
whatever.
Hunt.
Jamal Charles, you know, Brian Westbrook. He definitely has his touch on
Brian
running
Westbrook.
backs.
Well, Walker doesn't run like Westbrook. That's
Well,
different.
no, but I mean, Andy Reid's running
Walker's
back
more
usage.
like LaShawn McCoy. But anyway, usage-wise, I think so. I think he's going to change the offense. I think they got to protect Mahomes more because they've relied on Mahomes way too much over the last 3 or 4 years, and his injuries have built up enough at this point where they have to start pounding the rock. And they failed when drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They failed at Pacheco, and they paid Walker to be that man. And I think he can get into that top 3.
Don't use their running backs that well.
They don't.
I
can't wait to have the pick right after Javid, and he gets Kenneth Walker, and Omar and Hampton lands in my lap.
I don't, Denny. I know my rankings stay right there, but everything is position by position and moment of draft.
Oh, yeah.
But they did fire Nagy,
Yeah.
so you got a different offensive coordinator back in the room. You got
Yeah, but how much say did he have over Andy Reid?
I think Reid is a lot more backseat with the offense these days. I know he calls plays, but I think he takes a little bit more of a backseat with the play design and stuff. At least recently he did with Nagy. Wait, what? Yeah,
Bieniemy's there again. Jeez.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like it could revert back to a little bit heavier of a run like they had when Mahomes was younger in his career. Instead of just, hey, go throw it 40 times to win the game with receivers that are in police cars. Like you can't do that.
No.
So we went through the middle guys. We went through our top tier. Let's look at this bottom end right here. Which one of these guys are you concerned that won't finish the year in this 1 through 12 position point? And mainly, and look, again, forget injury. This is mainly off of how the offense runs, how plays happen. Is there somebody in your bottom, 9 through 12 that you can see them not finishing in this position? Brad, what do you think?
For me, it's A-Chain. If I had to pick one, and it's tough to pick one because all these guys I think are going to be fine, but A-Chain's situation completely flipped. All the weapons are gone now. The quarterback's gone. The coach is gone. The offensive scheme's gone. He is the focal point and highlight. And outside of, like Dan said, I think just plain old usage rate, I think he has the worst chance of finishing in the top 10 or top 12 to be an official RB1 status fantasy-wise. And it's strictly because of what's happened around him. It has nothing to do with his own skill set. I think his touchdown dependency is going to drop big time, unless obviously it's a big play. I don't think that team's going to be consistent in the red zone unless they're playing the Jets.
They do get him twice.
They get him twice. Fire up Devon A-Chain with confidence 2 weeks out this year.
See, I think it's Derrick Henry, and again, nothing to do with his skill set. I don't think he's falling off a cliff. More so, and I think the Ravens are going to have a good year. But if for some reason they don't change their ways with the new system, and this new coaching staff has to figure out the talent they have, I could just see Henry kind of fall into the wayside, which sounds crazy. But I don't see anyone else in this group of no one's going to take Barkley's job or Jacobs' job. And I know you don't like Brown, but I don't think anyone in that offense should be way too good.
Yeah.
And to not be using him, it's just new coaching staff with Derrick Henry being an older running back. Do they want to see what they have if their offense isn't performing? That's the only reason I see Henry not being a top 12 running back. It has nothing to do with him. Just if the whole Raven situation goes up in flames. And I don't think it will, but that's the only one I really see.
No, that's a fair point. You actually took mine. I was going to say Derrick Henry. That is who I think would happen. And similar reasons. I just think that offense is going to be maybe a little different this year. So he just may not be as featured as he was in the past. And he I try to say let's steer away from injuries, but he is getting up there in age and carries build up, and that could be a factor. But just focusing on no injuries, I just don't see.
Every year for the past 3 years, we've been like waiting for the Derrick Henry fall off.
Yeah,
and dude's just still trucking.
Yes, he's a monster. He really is. And that's why he's ranked ninth on my board, because he's a beast. I was shocked Dan didn't take Chase Brown, and
he won't fall off.
Fall off what? Was he ever on something?
Yeah, he's got to be on something to fall off.
He said, "Y'all hate. I will gladly take him."
Well, no, that's some good stuff. Any last words on this section right here? Is there somebody you want to chime in about that you didn't get a chance to talk about that you're confident in or have some comments for before we move on?
None of us said really anything about James Cook.
Fair, we didn't.
I think his skill set's there. He's been pretty
consistent.
He's been consistent. Yeah. The only issue with the consistency is that the receiving points have not been there like the rest of these running backs, or a good portion of these running backs, I should say. Which has blown my mind, because I think he can be a fine receiver. They just never used him at that. So we'll see if that changes with Joe Brady now taking over compared to years past. But he's been heavily touchdown dependent. Can he keep that up? That's the only thing with him as of recent. So
I just think Allen's not going to check it down.
That's what exactly. That's why.
Yeah, it's never been his MO.
Mobile quarterbacks typically don't, and he is not only mobile but also wants to bowl guys over.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be scared of contact and just jump it off to somebody else to take the.
He's also at the point where he needs to check himself, because he's now 30 also. And just like Cam Newton, it stacks up over the years. So don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, that's a very
Check
good
it down
point.
to James Cook, damn it.
No, that's actually a really good point about Allen being at that age, and the Cam Newton comparison there, because he has had the same type of offensive impact.
Yeah,
especially here lately with offensive.
He's the team. They rely on him. Wherever he goes is where the team's going. But Cam Newton was just as big, if not bigger, and more athletic. And you seen what the beating did to his body. So it can happen to anybody. So
definitely,
we want to see him play for a while. So let's be smart. Use James Cook.
Yeah. But that's our 1 through 12 right there. So if you're here, we really appreciate you being part of this and going through all this stuff. Like and subscribe. We're taking care of all these fantasy items. We're going to be going through that all this season. So stick around, and we'll help you win your league this year. So now 13 through 25. See, I put Chase Brown. Look, Brad did the same thing. We both put him at 13. We just couldn't give you the gratification.
If you give him the top, the best RB2, I'll take it. I think you're wrong. I think he's an RB1, but that's fine.
So on this level right here, this is your running back 2, technically. Who's dependable in your top? I mean, obviously, let's just talk about your top 5 players right there. Out of these 5, who would you reach out there and grab as a dependable guy that may have some RB1 upside, but he's finishing RB2 this year? What are you thinking, Brad?
For me, in my 5, it's Breece Hall, and the reason why I say that is he's an RB1. His team's holding him back.
Okay, I get that.
His team's holding him back. He is a RB1, but he's on the freaking Jets. They're not going to have super move the ball success. Yeah, he's not going to have super move the ball success, but they use him. He's been featured in the passing game. He can break off big runs. I think the talent's there. Yeah. I think you can draft him with confidence. Like we said, we're always assuming everybody's going to stay healthy. Draft Breece Hall with confidence. He can put up RB1 numbers any given week. I just think that team is holding him back big time. And we were waiting to see him move this offseason, but it didn't happen.
I was so upset when he didn't move.
Yeah.
But
I agree with you. Breece Hall is a guy that does give you that RB1 upside, can draft confidently to be your RB2. But But Javonte Williams is another one. I don't think he gives you that high upside, but he gives you that high floor. He is just gonna be consistent, I feel, week in, week out on a good offense. Gonna give you some touchdowns, give you a couple pass catches a game. Again, not gonna be your flashy RB1 upside, but just put him in your RB2 role. He's gonna get you consistent points, and you'll be happy to have him on your team.
That's actually a good one. So I actually had two of them. And you took mine again. I like Javonte, I really do. I've drafted him in Dynasty. I was high on him coming out of UNC. He's a very good running back. Sean Payton did him dirty, didn't use him properly. He also hurt his knee, so I can't, it's happened. I'm glad he's in Dallas. I'm glad he's behind a pretty good offensive line, and they actually use him how he's supposed to be used. So he is one of them. But my pick actually, a little homerish, but A-Chan, I almost said his old name. It's ETN. I'm sorry, old name. But A-Chan. He has that running back one level. He can get into that top 12 this year with that offense. I think he's going into a better offense. I like Liam Cohen's offense. Don't want to take anything away because I do like Bashul Tutton, who's right below him. Because that offense really does feature the running back really well. But I think ETN is going to fit very well in the Saints offense this year. He's got a quarterback that can actually throw the ball. I thought Dan was going to defend his boy.
Hit it.
No, you didn't say he couldn't throw the ball.
Fair. I should have led you the different way.
I was like, yeah, you know what? He's he got another quarterback that can throw the ball. That's how I heard it.
H-Chan's in a good offense now. He has Kamara behind him, and I think Kamara's going to take more carries and more snaps than we think he's going to take. But Kamara's kind of getting to the back end of his career, and I think H-Chan is just going to be a focal point in the offense this year. I think it's going to be schemed for him to be the focal point, and I think he's going to take off from a fantasy perspective. So that's who I kind of was leaning with there. But Jeremiah Love here, I have him kind of low. Brad has him pretty high. Dan has him 15. Are y'all really that confident that he's going to be able to? They're going to allow him to do that? I mean, we heard those comments in the last couple of weeks about him in the offense.
They need to fire Hackett if they're not using this guy by week 3. If Jeremiah Love is not involved in this offense by week 3, fire Nathaniel Hackett. You do not draft a guy that high and not use him. I don't remember all the stats about it, but the last time a guy drafted as in the first round running back was not a top fantasy running back. I don't remember when it was, but even like Najee Harris, who did not have the skill set of Jeremiah Love, was a good rookie running back. You got to use Love. You just have to use him. There's enough talent on that offense besides the quarterback, and I know their offensive line is not great, but Jeremiah Love did not. Not Jeremiah Love. Ashton Jeanty did not have a good offensive line last year. Was still a good running back. Yeah. Jeremiah Love will be a good running back.
He only had 800 yards. I think he had 6 touchdowns. Maybe it was less or more.
Yeah, but it was on the Raiders, so that's really translates to 1,300 yards.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not scared of Love. I think
me neither. I'm not scared of Love, but I can see them doing like Bijan's first year, where they still give the other guy.
Jeremiah Love. Again, that's why I don't have him as an RB1.
I can see it being like a 60-40 split.
If he was going to be featured completely, I'd have him as a top 12 running back. That's why I have him at 15. He was still going to be used.
Okay.
If they don't, they're going to be firing everybody. They drafted him that high. They will be using him.
If they put him out there sparingly and he makes splash plays, but only getting like 10 to 12 touches to start off with, then if it's not the front office, the fans are going to be calling for the neck. Like, put the freaking dude out there. He's just good. Like, you got to give him the ball. If he does damage, if he does damage, if you're getting each guy equal reps, and I keep going back to Bijan, but it reminds me so much of his rookie year with Algier, where it's like Bijan will break a freaking run for 20 yards, and you put Algier in, and it's like 3 yards to get stuffed. Algier, 3 yards to get stuffed.
Guess who's the third running back on the depth chart in
Yeah, I
Arizona
know.
right now?
Al freaking Gier. So he's gonna,
Exactly. So, and that's why I put Jeremiah Love lower, and it has nothing to do with his talent and skill level, because his talent and skill level is top 12. He will be a top 12 fantasy running back moving forward. It's just until he gets his role resolved and figured out, I just don't trust that offensive coaching staff.
Now, if they use him more in the passing
after
game,
a quick
and it saves
look,
his, yeah,
I think
if they use him
Genty
more,
was a top 12 running back last year.
He was.
And a guy like Trevion Henderson was right around number 20. But Henderson
Trevion did something to Vrabel's family or something, because that dude just hated Trevion.
Yes, but he still finished around number 20. So
okay, yeah.
I think Jeremiah Love is closer to Ashton Genty than Trevion Henderson. So I think 15 might even be a little too low for Love.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'll keep Love at 15. I think he has higher upside. It just doesn't have the floor, and the coaching staff, I think, are idiots. But yeah, if they're not using him early on, somebody will come in and use him.
We're all pretty even on Cam Scatterbo. What y'all think about that coming off the injury? What y'all think wasn't?
Not scared of his injury, just scared of the offense and the quarterback.
Yeah,
very
that's more
of a
that's more of the offense not getting in scoring position, and Scatterbo just trying to do everything himself.
That's the well. I don't want to say it's a problem, but him and Jackson Dart lived in the blue tent last year, and I think it's just their style of play, which I love, because it brings back like physical old school football, which everybody loves that kind of crap. But you also wonder how long is it going to last for this dude. But watching him play is freaking hilarious, man. You're right. The freaking white rhino.
Yep. No, I agree. I would be higher on Scatterbo if he wasn't such a physical runner, because Derrick Henry is a physical runner, but he seems to be a physical runner in a more smart sense.
Henry will use a stiff arm. Scatterbo does not use stiff arm. He uses his head. Yep, that's it.
Henry also is deceiving at straight line speed. He can take it 90 yards to the house. Scatterbo is not going to take it 90 yards to the house.
No, he's not. That is actually a very good point. He will outrun cornerbacks and safety.
And he's 260. The dude's a freaking freak, man. I mean, you can't compare anybody to Derrick Henry.
But yeah, Scatterbo is just that offense. I'm not high on John Harbaugh. He didn't really do much in Baltimore. He obviously had Derrick Henry, but you know what I mean by that. Like, his offense is built around. We're gonna have to see what his offense is actually built around this year. So
I see what you're saying. Nobody has ever been featured.
Yeah,
is what it seems like in John Harbaugh's system. So
yeah, because usually you have your quarterback running the ball, your running back running the ball, and all the other running backs sharing the ball. So everybody's sharing carries. And also just Scatterbo is an injury prone player.
Yeah. So
what about Tutton?
I like him.
I mean, I'm high on him. Yeah, Dan's a little low on him here.
I like him. I like that offense. You just got to see if Cohen's going to give him the load. Who was the other guy there? Who they signed this offseason?
Chris Rodriguez.
Is it Chris Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Dan's other lover boy?
It's Chris Rodriguez.
I
like the new running back was Jamari Taylor. I don't think he's going to get a ton of carries, but
it says something. They drafted one also.
Yeah.
So
I don't think Tootin is necessarily going to be the guy. I hope he does good things. I'm just not as high on him. We'll see how his usage is. I don't think he's going to be HN from last year, or when he was in Jacksonville, ETN. I don't think he's going to have those kind of numbers.
Who do y'all think from 20? I'm gonna say from the bottom half of this tier list. Who do y'all think has the possibility to jump up into the closer to that like high end RB2 range?
You want to jump on that tweet?
Yeah, mine would be Jeremiah Love. I know I put him low, but if the offensive coaching staff figures him out and lets him actually play, he will be a perpetual top 12 running back moving forward in fantasy football. He may even be a top 5 running back in fantasy football. He's very good. He just needs the coaching staff to believe in him and stop giving the ball to James Conner and your boy Algier. So that's who I would pick. I think he could be a riser there. I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
I got 2. Bucky, if he's healthy, we've seen what Bucky can do. He's got all the talent. I think the coaching staff's stupid. That whole situation in Tampa right now is terrible.
It's nasty out there.
I do not think Tampa's going to do well this year. I don't want to touch that offense. But if they figure it out, I think Bucky's going to be a big reason for it. But the other guy is another first-round running back, Jadarian Price. I think he could just do really well in Seattle. We saw what a guy like Kenneth Walker could do. Charbonnet being hurt. I don't know if he's going to be there to start the year. In my rankings, I figured he probably wouldn't be there to start the year. I don't like their other running backs all that much. I think, again, a first-round running back, they're going to be using him. He could also jump up into that higher-end RB2, low-end RB1 kind of ranking.
Okay. What do you think, Brad?
For me, and I was just checking his stats while Dan was talking, I like personally is Judkins. I think he came in, I think he was suspended the first 2 games last year, if I remember right.
Yeah.
He had right over 200 carries. I think he had like 220 or so carries, but he finished at 800 plus yards. Like I said, he did miss 2 games. And I think the main reason why I like Judkins is it's his backfield. And in the offseason, his coaches has confirmed that it's his backfield, and everybody seems to like him there as far as coaching staff and offensive play callers go. And I think they're going to try to get him integrated more into the passing game as well. And I think he can handle the load. I think his style of running is fine. If the offense gets any better from last year, which I can't see how it get worse, but if it gets any better, I think he could.
It could get worse.
They have so many good weapons on the offense besides the quarterback.
They have one piece.
They addressed skill positions in the draft big time. But I think he could finish easily as a 1,000-yard rusher this year. And I think they used him a lot in the red zone goal line situations last year. I think that'll continue on. So I got faith in Judkins. So I wouldn't mind rolling him out as my RB2 either. So
okay. In this position, before we move on, let's say that bottom half, 20 to 25. Are you drafting any of these guys to be your, one of your starters? Let's say you have a 2 running back league. Are you drafting either of these guys to be one of them, or you're drafting them more in the flex position and you're focusing, trying to get 2 in those top 12 to 20 position to get your 1 and 2 running backs? And these guys are more of a flex style guy.
I'd be happy taking up to RB23 on my list as my running back 2. Okay. Bucky, again, I don't have a lot of confidence in Tampa. So that's where my backup running backs start. But he also could be one of those guys, like I said, if Tampa's good, it's probably because Bucky is doing well. But yeah, 23 and up, I'd be happy to have as my running back too. Yeah. I would not mind going out to draft one of them, not just letting them fall.
What do you think, Brad?
I would probably consider these guys RB2s for me because I draft wide receiver heavy personally. So it wouldn't bother me.
Strategy.
It wouldn't bother me to have one of these guys in my RB2 if you can get 2 top 12 guys as your in your draft picks to roll those 2 out. As far as our list standings go, I think you're in really good shape. And that's a very good possibility to do in a Q2 QB league. Which I also, I still draft wide receiver heavy in those situations. I'm a wide receiver guy. I draft heavy, but no, a lot of these guys, I think you're going to get more consistency out of these guys than you are going to get out of the 13 to 15 spot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know it can be kind of contradictory, but I think these guys are kind of setting their roles, especially somebody like DeAndre Swift, who we didn't really touch base on. He's in a high-powered offense. He had over 1,000 rushing yards last year. The touchdown opportunity is going to be there. Monangai doesn't really scare me unless somebody, unless an injury happens. But that Ben Johnson offense has proven to have two running backs that can consistently put you up 10 to 15 points a game. So I have no problem taking any of these guys.
As your RB2. Yeah.
Yeah, as RB2. No, not at all.
Yeah, my cutoff right here would be 23 with Jeremiah Love. I could do Chuba, but it is risky because y'all are starting to convince me that Jonathan Brooks actually has knees, so he may actually play football this year. But Jeremiah Love, I think, is where I would stop at that running back 2 position, and everybody after that I would consider more of a flex position. And if you are drafting those guys as your RB2, you draft like Brad and finish 5th to 10th in your league.
You want to get multiple of those guys and try and play matchup at that point.
Play your matchups.
I agree with that. All right, so let's go into all the running back garbage. 26 through 50. I mean, if you're drafting these guys, you're getting desperate. No.
Yeah, you're getting desperate.
In this spot right here, our slide is very congested here because I fit them all on the same page. Because in my opinion, all these guys fall into the same tier. They are flex guys. Like if you're drafting one of these guys, some weeks they're going to get you 20 points. Some weeks they're going to not even get you a point.
Yep.
So you're kind of just rolling the dice and hoping you get there. So I don't know, Dan, where is your cutoff on here on a guy that you're confident will get you 10 to 15 points a week?
That's the problem is if you look at the my 26 through 38, you see guys on the same team repeatedly. Henderson and Stevenson, Warren and Dowdle, Harvey Dobbins, Mason Jones. Who is going to be the main running back in those on those teams? I like Henderson. I'm high on him as a talent. How is McDaniels going to use him? Harvey, there's 3 running backs on that team all of a sudden. I think Dobbins is great. How are they going to be used? We don't know. Warren and Dowdle. It is so hard to figure out who is going to be playing, how often. Like Jonathan Brooks, I'm really high on. We haven't actually seen anything. So this whole group of guys, I have no idea. I think Dobbins and up, I'm more confident on. I don't love Jordan Mason or that whole Vikings team, especially with Murray coming in. I don't see a lot of check downs. Jordan Mason may be their RB1, but what's that team going to look like? I don't love anybody after that. Rashad White, I'm excited about. I think he's just a talented player. People seem to dog on him, but he's never been bad. So I'm excited to see what he does. But now, they got a couple old receivers now, and he also has a mobile quarterback. So I don't see him getting a ton of work. So yeah, just Dobbins and up, I feel, are guys that you feel a little more confident in. And we'll see how the rest of training camp plays out. And maybe Brooks can get into that level with with Carolina, kind of closer to Chuba. But after that, I really don't want anything. Woody Marks is the other one that I think could get higher.
I'm high on Woody Marks.
The more we hear from training camp, I like Woody Marks. I just figure when they got Montgomery, they weren't going to be using him too much. But it seems like he might be used more. So he's a guy that might creep up a bit. So maybe I'll put him above Mason at some point, along with Brooks. But yeah, Dobbins and up. I really don't want anybody after that.
No, that's a good point. I am high on Woody Marks. I know I have him at 36 and Montgomery at 35, and the only reason I did that is because they paid Montgomery. So the coaching staff and specifically the front office is going to probably feel motivated to give him a fair share of carries. And Montgomery is known as being a vulture, so he's gonna vulture touchdowns away from Woody. if they are in the red zone, they're probably not putting Woody in on, first, second, third and goal. So that's kind of where I have that. But I think for myself, I would cut it off around Blake Corum. I like Kyron, but I think Blake Corum can steal some shares this year from him. And pending Kyron's injuries and anything like that, but if Corum gets a fair shot and gets full games without Kyron there, he could easily take his job. So I think at that position right there, you can potentially get some good players from that standpoint. Where are you feeling, Brad?
It's a crapshoot at this point, but if you're looking at this point, like you said, you're looking for somebody who's going to most likely give me 10 to 12 points consistently. And in my opinion, as far as my list goes, is Tony Pollard. He's been doing it for a while. I think that offense is going to get better. He still ran for 1,000 last year. I think there's going to be more touchdown opportunity there. I would fire up Tony Pollard in a flex spot with confidence, especially in a 12-team league. I think he'll do just fine. I'm not really scared of the younger talent behind him. And then another guy I like specifically, I like Dan talk about Rachaad White. I think they're going to use him there. I don't think they had 100% faith in Krosky Merritt for whatever reason. I think Rachaad White's going to get his fair share of opportunities. Agree with you on Blake Corum's situation, but Ramondre for me is they like him in New England, man, and he has games where he scores 25 points. He also has games where he only scores you 8, which sucks. But
yeah, and the reason he gets you 8 is because he fumbled it 3 times.
It's true, and he goes through them games. But I think with the addition of AJ Brown, it's going to help the offense move the ball more. So that's one of them things where you go back to opportunities just based on offensive productivity, and I think he's going to fall into that category. But you can basically say the same thing about Monungai. He's just in one of them offenses where opportunity is going to present itself. He's just got to capitalize on it. So,
yeah. Is there anybody on the bottom of your list that you can easily see sneak into that top 25, top 30? Let's say anybody lower than 35.
I talked about Woody Marks. Just the more I hear, the more I'm like, maybe he will be splitting more time with Montgomery and could shoot up. But I think that's more of a misranking on my part when I made my list, just not being as confident in his splits. After that, I feel like it's more injury based, except for Dylan Sampson. There's so much talent in Cleveland, which sounds ridiculous. I like Dylan Sampson as a running back.
Yeah.
If they decide hey, we're using all of our young talent, let's just get these guys out there. Maybe Dylan Sampson. I don't think he's going to really take away a lot of the runs from Judkins, but if they use him in that, third down passing role, just give him a little more. We need people. We need talent. Let's get our talented guys out there. Dylan Sampson seems like somebody that's just talented. Let's get him on the field. So he'd be one, not counting injuries. A lot of these guys, if they're injured, can go make a splash. I think Tyrone Tracy's talented if they need to use him.
I like Tracy.
But barring injury, I think Dylan Sampson is one that can just go and be talented on that offense.
Definitely.
What do you think?
What are you thinking, Brad?
No. I was going to ask you.
I don't know, man.
Put your stamp of approval on it. Put your guarantee on it.
It's rough. It's rough, guys. I actually didn't rank him. He's actually ranked under my top 50, but I can see him as a sleeper, and I can see him actually getting the starting role by, I would say, week 13, 14, 15, and that's Nick Singleton. Yeah, I can see him. I don't believe in Tony Pollard. I think he's on the back end of his career, and I think he's gonna show that from his play this year. I'm down on him. Tajay Spears has no knees. He has those cartilage issues from college. I just don't think he's going to last. And I think by the time week 13, 14 rolls around, Singleton will have proven himself over that time period to start getting more and more carries. And I could see him being a sleeper if you hold on to him. Now, look, I'm not saying he's going to be, bam, week 5, he's running for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns a game. But if you grab him back into your draft or a waiver wire pickup, and you have enough roster spots, that's somebody you could hold on to the playoff time, and he may actually help you win a championship there.
Yeah.
And the only reason is because the 2 guys in front of him are just not there anymore. I don't know. What do you think, Brad?
I'm going to say Jonathan Brooks. and I say that with laughter because it's like you barely ever seen him play. But the reason why I'm going to pick him is because the man hasn't played football in 2 years, basically. Yeah. He's had back-to-back big-time injuries. He hasn't seen the field. They let other running backs who showed that they were decent walk. Obviously, Chuba Hubbard's still there, but that front office and that team, they don't believe in Chuba in my opinion. They've given so many other guys the opportunities to be that dude, and if they've hung on to Jonathan Brooks basically from his rookie contract to now, and he's played like maybe 2 quarters of football, I think that they still believe in him, or he's really been showing something in this year's training camp. So, like you said, you think Nick Singleton could win that job. I think Brooks could win that job, but I think it'll be earlier than that later, that point in the year. I think if he shows flashes early enough and he gives them a spark, I think he's going to be featured, and I think he could finish in the top, 30 or so of running backs or be a good flex play for you. But he's got to stay healthy. So that's a big roll of dice because he's never been healthy.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's actually a good segue into our next slide, which is the running backs who split our room, who we disagreed with, and I put this little slide together, and it took me like 30 minutes to find a photo of Jonathan Brooks actually playing NFL football without having his practice uniform on.
I want credit. I want credit when it's due. Right.
But I didn't mention Brooks in that last segment because I think Brooks fit more in the ones that I didn't view him so badly that I think he could be surprising. I just thought he'd be decent. He won't be a surprise because I think he is already on the map.
And both of y'all have generally agreed that he's going to make some sort of movement this year. He may play a couple quarters because y'all have him ranked 38th and 40th. I put him in the top 50 because y'all convinced me that he's gonna play. Because look, when he came out from college,
Texas,
yeah, I was interested in him. He was touted as being a talented back. He was going to a place with Chuba that at that point I think Chuba was
nobody owned the backfield
contract. Yeah, there was nobody there. CMC was gone. I thought he was going to come in and do it. Then he blew his knee out, and then he hurt himself again, and he just hasn't had the chance to play. And maybe he will come out and be a fantastic running back, but he's going to have to prove it on the field before I actually, suggest or provide some suggestions to pick him. The Ramondre is another one that both y'all are fairly high on. I liked him coming out of college. I just don't get why they keep playing. Travion is so much better.
It has nothing to do with Stevenson's talent.
The Patriot thing.
Yeah, it is. It's their offensive coordinator wanting to use multiple guys. That's why I can't be too high on a Denver running back. I can't be too high on a Patriots running back. And I know I'm the highest on Stevenson, but that's just because I couldn't put Henderson as high based on his own talent because I don't think they'll use him as much. And Stevenson's still going to get a lot of work. They're just going to split him. So he's going to get you RB2 numbers some weeks, and some weeks he won't.
They use him in the passing game a lot too. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's got multiple options to get your points. But you, Javid, are high on Kyron Williams.
I am. And look, I just shelled for Blitz Forum in the last segment.
You did. Is it just because of the offense he's on?
Yes. It's specifically because of the offense.
That's right. So he thinks he's poo, and he's getting carried by his own.
He is being carried by Sean McVay 100% because if you put him on another team, he'll be Cam Akers. But no, I am high on him. I think he could be a running back 12, but I also could see him finishing running back 2. I could also see him finishing running back 4 because Blake Corum came in and stole his job because he got hurt. Yeah, I mean, we have an 11-point spread, right? 11-spot spread right there. But you're the worst. You're the most down on him. You're really confident that Corum's going to come in and make that a 50-50 backfield?
Yeah, I am. I just am. I think Corum.
That's it. He's like, yep.
I think Corum. They put him in there, and I think it speaks for something when you give a back 5 to 6 plays a game, and each play it does something positive or it gets the team going. And I think that was Corum last year. Yeah. I think he ran with energy, ran with purpose. He scored when he was in the red zone. And I think they like him. I think he's going to be used more. And I do agree with you. I think the reason why I was down on Kyron, but maybe higher on Blake is because of that reason, the offense. I think, I think they're going to start splitting it. And Kyron's been getting a pretty decent amount of usage the past couple of years. So I think they're trying to lighten his load also.
Mm-hmm. So, how you feeling there, Dan, with Kyron?
I love Kyron. I don't think Corum's going to steal too much. There's just a lot of guys that I think are going to get more passing work that are above him. Like DeAndre Swift, I have right above him. We already talked about his usage in a high-powered offense. He's also going to catch a lot of passes. Scatabo, that offense is so bad, he's also going to get some checkdowns. Achane in New Orleans. Javonte had a high floor. Jeremiah Love, super high upside. So all the guys I have right above Kyron feel like they do something better than Kyron, where it's not like Blake Corum's taking over the role. I just like these guys better for slightly different reasons. But like Kyron compared to the guys right after Judkins, Tootin, Price, Irving, I think that's why I have him in this lower RB2 range. And it's just because I think other guys are going to get more passing opportunities. And that offense is so dynamic. And for the Rams, he is going to get some touchdown opportunities. They are going to use Corum a little bit, or, not a little bit. They're going to use him a decent bit. But I don't think he's going to really eat into Kyron's role so much. I just like a couple guys better for their own individual opportunities.
Okay.
So not dogging on Kyron at all. I think he would still be a really good RB2.
Fair analysis. No, definitely. Any Houston's backfield, any further? We kind of talked about Montgomery and Marks in the last segment, so I don't know if there's any final comments.
I think there. I'm a little too high on Monty after hearing some of the stuff from camp. And nothing against Monty, just I really like Woody Marks. I just assumed that they would not be using him after signing Montgomery. I'm glad to hear that they're going to be using both of them. So I'd probably knock Monty a little bit and put Woody Marks a little bit higher. Yeah. So maybe not as low as you have him, Javid, but a couple spots, maybe a couple spot swing. But again, not one that's going to – not looking to target him, but not terrified if he's one of my flex guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brad? Any final comments there?
I like Montgomery. Like you quoted on it earlier, they paid him and brought him in. So that's why it kind of scared you a little bit on Woody Marks, even though we believe in his talent. I think that, like Dan just touched base on though too, I think that I have him at 25, I believe it was. So I have him basically at the top of what would be a flex spot start. And I would put him there with confidence. I think that offense, it's been riding with CJ Stroud, the wave. I think they should get back on track this year. I'm not going to say they're going to be potent, but I think they're going to be a little more consistent this year. And I do believe in David Montgomery. I think they brought him in for a certain reason. And I think he might get some of the goal line carries taken away from Woody Marks, and they're going to give them to him, which in your flex spot, you're hoping for somebody to get a touchdown. So I think he's going to be one of those guys that you can count on to do that.
No, definitely. Yeah. So one last comment from the running back scene. And I know we kind of touched on it a little bit throughout the whole thing, but from a draft strategy standpoint, are you going heavy running back this year? Or are you going to stick with your typical strategies of wide receivers are dominant? I need to continue to go with the dominant positions and take them as fast as I can. What do you think about that, Brad?
I always go wide receiver dominant, but I do think this year, the more mocks I've been doing, I have been going a combo of one each in the first 2 rounds. And I think that's because now there's later value if you're drafted in the back end of a mocks, which is usually where I typically like to go because I like to get 2 like top 15 or top 16 players. So I usually like the later picks. Yeah. But I don't mind that pick now because I don't mind snagging a Amon-Ra St. Brown and then coming back around because of the fall, because of a down year, and getting somebody like a Saquon. So that's why I don't mind doing a balanced blend of it. But I probably would only take one running back if I had a top 3 pick, because if you're getting Jameer or Bijan, I think you can wait on a running back and you can get a little bit of
swing
receivers. Back. Yeah, exactly.
See, I disagree with that. If I'm getting Jameer and Bijan,
I mean, you're wrong. But go ahead.
I just want to jump in right there. I think if I can go double running back and get Jameer and Bijan, and then
Chase Brown, who ass?
I like Chase Brown. If I can,
I'll be happy to take Chase Brown.
I was seeing Omari and Hampton go towards the end of the second. I don't think that's going to happen.
Omari and Hampton ain't going to make it to the end of the second.
He was making it. I don't think he's doing it anymore.
Is going to rise.
Yeah, but if he's following,
as soon as this video gets released, Omari and Hampton going to go up 4 spots in the draft just because.
I'm just saying, if you get Jameer Gibbs or Bijan Robinson, and you can turn around and go get Omari and Hampton at the end of the second or a Chase Brown, I'd be doing it. I don't think I would go get Achane if he was falling. I think if you can go get like an Omari and Hampton at the end of the second, that can be an RB1 type, and all of a sudden you have 2 guys that we all talked about as guys that can finish as the number 1 overall running back. Why not do it? Why go get an AJ Brown at that point where you don't
finish as the number 1 overall receiver?
You think he's going to be RB1 of a Puka, or that's what I'm saying. Like, go get.
We'll save that for the wide receiver episode. Because there's gonna be some big arguments on AJ Brown. I can already hear it.
Oh yeah,
that's why I like the
Brad has him at 101. He'd take him 101 if he could.
Take him with confidence. Cooking Christian Gonzalez also.
Well, yeah, so I hope y'all stuck around to the end of the episode. We really do appreciate y'all jumping in and kind of going through these running back rankings with us. This is part of our Fantasy Blitz series. We've already hit on the quarterbacks, tight ends. We just went through the running backs. We got receivers coming up, and then we have a whole episode on draft strategy. We just kind of touched a little bit on it, but we did a whole episode on draft strategy. So